Max Verstappen has been going on an absolute side quest rampage in his free time. You would think competing in 24 Formula 1 races a year is enough of a main quest in and of itself. But not for this guy. He's been going so hard at side questing that he's now the only active F1 driver that has won a full race in a Ferrari this year. This guy pulls up to the Nürburgring, casually wins the race by a landslide, goes to bed, wakes up at the next F1 race just to go back to the main campaign and pretend like nothing ever happened. I'm proudly Dutch, by the way. It's in my veins to glaze Max Verstappen, so whenever I'm glazing him too hard in this video, the glazing alarm will go off. Max Verstappen is way better than Lewis Hamilton. Okay, well, there you go. Max has actually been ticking off side quest after side quest for quite some time now. It's no secret that he loves all types of racing, whether it be F1, driving GT cars, or driving on the sim. He loves anything that moves fast on four wheels. Sim racing is something in particular that he does a lot of in his free time. He stayed up in the past on a Formula 1 race day until 4 AM playing iRacing with his friends on stream.
Alright boys, I'm also gonna go to bed.
Good luck tomorrow.
4 AM for you, mate.
Yeah. Alright, I'll speak to you guys tomorrow.
At some point, Red Bull even tried to interfere because they were afraid it was taking away his attention from the main quest, but he obviously didn't listen to them and is still grinding side quests like there's no tomorrow. He's consistently competed in multiple events over the past 6 years. For example, in 2019, he competed in the Outdoors 12 alongside Lando Norris, but that ended in a DNF. That same year, he won the Spa 24 special event, again alongside Lando and 2 other teammates, despite his brake pedal breaking in the last 30 minutes of the race. In more recent years, however, he's been completing so many of them that you start to wonder if he isn't treating Formula 1 like the side quest instead. During the 2024 Imola Grand Prix race weekend, the Nürburgring 24 hours on iRacing was also taking place. Any other F1 driver would just say, oh well, there's overlap, I'll just focus on the F1 race because that's more important. But that doesn't really sound like Max, does it? So instead, he got a sim rig set up that he could bring to the Imola Grand Prix weekend and that he could put in his motorhome so that he could compete in both events on the same weekend. Like, which other driver is gonna do that? A fun fact too is that the sim rig was supposed to be shipped in a Formula 2 trailer owned by MP Motorsport, but it was too big to fit in there. So as a solution, they instead shipped it with a flower vendor who was already headed to the Imola circuit anyways. During the weekend, it was first time for Formula 1 qualifying, where he slammed on pole and the session was done around 5 PM. On that same day, the 24-hour race began and Max was driving his first 2.5-hour stint by 8:45, just a few hours after qualifying had ended. When he hopped on iRacing, his Team Headline was already running in the lead, and during his stint, he helped extend it so that his teammates could drive through the night. On Sunday morning before the Imola Grand Prix, he jumped back into the car for a 2-hour stint around 9 AM, once again extending their lead a bit and then jumping out around 11 AM to head over to the Imola circuit, or what some might call his main quest. During the Imola Grand Prix, Max led almost every single lap, with Lando getting very close to overtaking him by the end of the race. He crossed the line in first to take the win only 15 minutes after his Team Headline teammate Chris Lowham crossed the line as well, earning Max 2 victories in the same day and completing both his main and side quest at the same time, although we don't really know which he sees as which, to be honest. He loves iRacing so much that earlier this year there was a private screening for the new F1 movie and almost all the drivers showed up for it except for 2. Lance Stroll didn't show up because he probably crashed on his way there. Max Verstappen wasn't there either. Now, why do you think that is? Option A, he was playing iRacing. Option B, there is no option B. Of course he was playing fucking iRacing. Absolute king behavior. Okay, fine, I'll calm down. I almost forgot to mention that in 2023 Max participated in another sim racing side quest that went horribly wrong. He and Team Headline joined the 24-hour of Le Mans Virtual, which was not on iRacing but on R-Factor 2. His team was comfortably leading the whole race by over a minute. However, around 7 hours in, Max got disconnected from the game, and once he got back, he had lost a lap and a half and he dropped back to 17th place. There was nothing he could do about it, as the servers that the event was being run on got hacked, causing him to get disconnected again and to completely lose any chance of regaining the lead. The servers also crashed twice earlier, causing the entire race to be restarted, so by the time that Max got disconnected for the second time, he was raging, and his reaction is just beautiful.
They call it, it's amazingly bad luck. Well, this is just incompetence. Honestly, it's a joke. It's not even, you cannot call this an event, a clown show. I think I have more chance if I go to Vegas and I'm just gonna go to the casino. I think I'm gonna uninstall the game. That's nice. Frees up a bit of space on the PC anyway. And I really hope everyone installs the game.
Bro absolutely burned the entire event to the ground. He doesn't only get outraged when something doesn't work out in F1, but also when his side quests don't work out. Sim racing is just one of his many side quests, however. He also loves to drive GT cars. Or should I say that his alter ego loves to do so. In May of 2025, a new kid on the block called Frans Herman came out of nowhere and showed up to the Nürburgring to drive a test in a GT3 car. Maybe he got inspired by his big brother Frank Herman back in Australia, who drives a tractor that's equivalent to the RB21. An attempt was made by Max to keep a low profile while participating in the test by using Franz as his fake name. However, that didn't really work out, besides the fact that his name wasn't on the entry list, so when he pulled up to the track, nobody was waiting for him yet. You're also quite easy to spot when your entire car is bombarded with Red Bull and Verstappen.com branding. That Franz guy must be really good if he got signed by Red Bull right away. They should put him in F1. The real reason for being at this test in the first place was to support Thierry Vermeulen, who drives for Max's racing team, and Max also wants to drive more at the Nürburgring in the future, which by now he has done, but we'll get to that. We haven't even talked about the best aura farming moment of this entire event yet. During the laps that Max did for this session, he casually broke the GT3 lap record. It was not an officially timed lap, so the record is not officially broken, but it's still absolutely insane to pull up to a test and drive that fast on your first ever time driving this track in real life. The funniest part is that Max usually doesn't tweet anything besides just normal marketing stuff. But when another driver called him out on this record not being legit, he went full on actually mode. Maro Engel tweeted, "Car was run in DTM spec BOP, less weight, more power, lower ride height than NOS BOP," and not even an hour after the tweet, Max fired back with, "False, don't spread things when you don't know how the car was set up and our engine settings. Why would I join an NOS track day with the wrong BOP? Have a good one tomorrow, thumbs up emoji." And then the guy said, "You're clearly in a better position to tell us what you ran. Thanks and same to you." Straight up aura farming king right there. Frans absolutely cooked him and decided to reply to a tweet for the very first time in a year just to make a point. On top of that, during a later interview, he said that he wasn't there to show off that he could break a lap record or anything. He was just having fun and learning the track. So his way of having fun is truly just by breaking records without even tryharding. Okay, fair, my bad. Max's next side quest goal was to be able to participate in GT3 races around the Nordschleife, which to do so, he has to obtain his permit A and his permit B. For him to get his permit A, he needed to drive at least 14 race laps and be classified in 2 different GT4 cars during an NOS race day. But you first have to obtain your permit B before moving on to permit A, and to do that, Max had to partake in a track and theory exam, and he had to complete multiple laps driving behind an instructor. The lucky instructor was a driver named Andreas Gulden, and I cannot even imagine how bizarre it has to be to guide a 4-time Formula 1 world champion around a racetrack, having to pretend like he's a rookie and explaining him racing lines. So Franz, I will now show you the ideal racing line through this turn, okay?
I don't get it. What the is this about?
What do you mean, Franz? Are you confused?
I can't even see where I'm going. So much vibration.
Ah yes, your RB21 doesn't vibrate as much. Franz, chill out, my man. I'm trying my best.
Wait, is this guy blind?
You want your permit or not, Franz? I can take it away just like that.
What an idiot.
That's it, Franz. No permit for you. I'm done.
I hope I can't find him now in the paddock, because then he has...
After graduating for his permit B, it was time to go for permit A. So he participated in qualifying and got himself a 33rd position overall and 8th in Cup 3. Then it was time for the race itself, where he drove the required 14 laps around the circuit, finishing in 27th overall and 7th in Cup 3. However, he only did this using one car instead of two, because the other car that he was supposed to drive crashed during qualifying, so it was impossible for him to obtain his permit A the normal way. Since the car was damaged, it was now up to the committee to decide if Max would get his permit, which they did end up granting him because it was out of his control, meaning that Max can now partake in GT3 races. Throughout this entire procedure, Max didn't complain about a single thing and seemed to enjoy every moment of it. He doesn't use his status as an F1 driver to take any shortcuts, and he gets treated as any other driver that would want to obtain his permits, which is how it should be. His aura definitely did strike again this weekend too, as a lot of people showed up to the circuit to watch him obtain his permit, even leading to an extra 2 grandstands being opened because an additional 50,000 people were expected to show up. You can also clearly see on their YouTube channel that any content about Max or an event that he participated in instantly gets more views, and the chat is just about Max the entire time. According to De Telegraaf, which is a semi-reliable Dutch news source, although I think their motorsport stuff is fine. Across all streams combined, 42 million people watched him obtain his permit, which is just an absurd number that only he could pull. Oh, come on, it wasn't even that bad. Well, he's got his permit now, so you'll already kind of know what his next side quest was going to be. And it's definitely the most insane one he's completed so far. Max took part in the NOS 9 race alongside his teammate Chris Lolham in, very importantly, a Ferrari 296 GT3 car. First off, it was time for qualifying, which at first was delayed due to heavy fog, but when the green flag came out, Max went out and put a lap down on a damp racetrack that put him ahead of the field by 24 seconds, going purple in every single sector. He went even quicker on his second push lap before switching to different tires because the track was drying up. With the track improving fast, everybody was improving their times as well, and in the end, Max got a time that was good enough for 3rd on the grid, partially because he ran into a lot of traffic on his final lap. Next up, it was time for the race itself, and the grid was absolutely packed out around Franz Hermann's car. When the race began with a rolling start, Max immediately went from P3 into the lead, overtaking pole sitter Krogness around the outside into turn 1. During the next few laps, Max hammered in some great times, and by lap 5, he had extended his lead to over 17 seconds, while also taking the fastest lap, which was only 2 seconds slower than the track record he had unofficially broken before. Cruising comfortably in the lead, it was time for his first pit stop on lap 7, and for the rest of his 2-hour stint, he maintained an extremely strong pace until it was time to pit for a driver swap during lap 15. His fastest lap during that stint was nearly 5 seconds faster than the next closest lap. By the time he made this stop, he was 65 seconds ahead of the number 2, which is a crazy pace considering it's his first ever GT3 race, and now it was time for Chris to take over and finish it off. During his stint, however, it got a bit more difficult because there were a lot of yellow flags taking big hits on the lead that the team had. Regardless of all of this, he drove an impressive enough stint to finish in first with a 24-second lead, earning Max, Chris, and Franz Hermann their very first GT3 win. The funniest part to me is that this got Max an article on Ferrari's website, which is such a weird thing to see. Like, it literally says with Ferrari, as if he's been driving for them for years and the entire car is painted red. Ferrari is having such a poor season that they need Max to show Charles and Lewis how to win a race in a Ferrari car. Max now has more wins in a Ferrari than Lewis Hamilton. Okay, I knew it was gonna go off there. And we just take a moment to appreciate what an insane September month Max just had. First, he goes to Monza and during qualifying sets the fastest lap in Formula 1 history by average speed. Then, the very next day, he turns that pole position into a victory after not winning a race for 4 months, and he also won by the biggest margin of the season. Then, he goes to the Nürburgring to obtain his permits and he makes a massive event out of it simply by just showing up. Then the weekend after that in Baku, he gets pole position, leads every lap of the race, gets the fastest lap and finishes in P1 to earn himself his first Grand Slam of the season. And then he goes back to the Nordschleife to win on his GT3 debut while driving at an incredible pace, leading the race by over a minute. If this doesn't show that he's him, then I don't know what will. Oh, come on, it's justified. Max actively participating in another racing series besides the extremely busy F1 schedule really shows what an insane passion he has for racing. Other GT3 drivers were also praising that he showed up. One of them even said that the champagne shower he got from Max was the best champagne shower of his life.
Ich glaube, das war die beste Champagnerdusche meines Lebens. Einmal den Champagner von Max Verstappen abzukriegen, das war schon großartig.
However, there were also a lot of people on Twitter, of course it's on Twitter, that were not happy at all with all of the new F1 fans coming in. Many NOS fans said that what Max did wasn't that impressive because he wasn't up against the very best GT3 drivers as they were in Fuji competing in WEC. And they were also saying that it was hardly a talented field and that there is much more for Max to go up against. First of all, it's simply pretty cool that Max joining this series has brought so much attention to it, possibly creating new GT3 fans and just making it more known in general. Secondly, chances are big that Max will compete more, as he said himself that it's his goal to drive in the Nürburgring 24 hours, which also does line up pretty well with the F1 2026 calendar, with that event taking place in the 3-week gap between the Miami Grand Prix and the Canadian Grand Prix. Besides that, the Nordschleife is one of the most difficult racetracks in the entire world. So anyone downplaying what he's achieved with his debut win is just simply taking a whole lot of copium. I really hope that he takes part in the Nürburgring 24 hours in 2026 and that he keeps treating side quests as if they are the main quest. And maybe Ferrari can get a win this year without having to hire the absolute GOAT of motorsport. Okay, fine.
No, you gave a really stupid response there, so yeah, I think we're all passionate, so those things happen.